Yeah. In your house with O'Con. Hey, O'Con in your house. Hollywood in your house. Hypocrisy's head in the clouds. Curating all kind of loud. Wrestling in front of the crowds. Paragon's holding it down. Anybody can get it. Josh Joseph standing on his decisions. He is the voice. There is no choice. We is them boys in your house making wrestling noise. Moving fast, it's like cruiserweight action. In your house is the perfect distraction. Pumpers in your ears when you in traction. Get this work with some wrestling action. Smoke.
What's up, guys? What's cracking? The Con Man, and I'm in your house. We're here. We're ready to make a movie. I hope you guys are ready to make a movie. I hope you guys are with the shits, because we're with the shits. And we're ready to talk a little wrestling. That's right, you already know the vibes. Anytime we slide on through, we're here to give you that work when it comes to this professional wrestling business. And guys, you already know what day it is. If you know, you know, and that is Sunday. Sunday, that's right. That means it is time for the Sunday house party. And you already know, anytime we slide on through with one of these, it's going to be a movie, Jack. So, as you guys know, I got to bring in my great team. I mean, we've been killing it here lately, guys. And it doesn't just take one man. It takes a village, and my village is pretty much here. And I got to bring in my guy who's been really killing it on Mondays, and that's of course with Window Liquors. That is the Raw preview show. Also on Fridays with the ECW watch-alongs, and he's really been killing it there. And that is the voice, Josh Joseph, coming in on a Sunday. What's up, bro?
How goes it? House? How goes it? Household? How goes it? Window Liquors? Grun's friends, your friends, Hypocrisy's friends, everybody's friends. It's a great day to be here. It's a Sunday. We got a packed show today, so I'm excited to get into it. Bring on some more friends for me there, House.
I got you, bro. I got you. You said his name like you're stepping on my stuff here, man. Like you're stepping on me here because you was about to say his name. You're good, bro. You're good. But of course, you're about to say his name. We say his name, and he appears, I believe, in the Grunmeister coming back to In Your House, the Sunday house party. What's up, bro?
What's up? Not much. Enjoy the weekend. As you can see, I got a trim and a haircut.
Looking clean.
Oh,
the chat's already going, bro. We already got the chat going up in here, so it's already getting active, man. And of course, a house party wouldn't be a house party if we didn't have our producer here. You know, he's pretty much like the kid to my play, bro. That is Hypocrisy Jones. He's coming in producing. He's going to chat with us. What's up, bro? Whoa, we cannot hear you, bro.
You're on mute.
You're muted.
Why is this man muted? What are you doing?
He's so
Party foul. Party foul.
Yo, my bad. Yo, I was producing so hard, I muted myself. I don't even know. Bro. Yo. What up, household? I'm ready. I'm ready now. Shit.
My man, of course he's coming back. My man went and he sit up here and did exactly what I wanted to do this past weekend, and I didn't get a chance to do it. He went out and you got to see Deadpool and Wolverine, and I'm like, dang, man, like I wanted to go so bad. I gotta get there.
Oh no.
I've got to get there. That's me right now. And that's the household right there, because they've been waiting for a house party, y'all.
Absolutely, man. Every Sunday morning, man, we drop these house parties. We drop we invite multiple people in. We invite multiple opinions in, and we have these house parties, man, and they are popping, bro. They are absolutely popping. They're so popping. I mean, I don't want to step on you, but like the door's still open.
Yeah. No, you're right.
Yeah.
No, that was actually just a perfect segue, honestly, because we actually have one more member of the party that's coming in here. He's at the door right now. He's with security. You know, we got one of those big dudes up on security. We got Sam Knight over there in security right there doing the security thing. He's like, "What's your name?"
What your name is?
He's like, You ain't on the list, bro. You ain't on the list. I can't let you win, bro. I can't let you win.
No, we can't be like that. We gotta let him in, man. We gotta let him in, like Bray Wyatt style.
I got you, bro. I was gonna say, how you talk your mess from outside the club? You can't even get in. But we're gonna let him in because we got a really great guest, you guys. And this man, he does great work in the Midwest. A fellow color commentator, such as myself, for many great promotions. I always love to see my brothers in commentary doing well and be getting huge opportunities. I love it because that's how I started out, was doing commentary at shows. I'm still doing commentary at shows, and I still love it. I still enjoy myself. I'm still debuting at new places. So it's always great to sharpen iron with somebody else, and that's exactly what we're about to do, because we're about to bring on an independent professional wrestling color commentator, PEAPOD, here at In Your House. What is up, bro?
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for taking some time out and letting me on your great party. I had to slip the bouncer a 20 spot to get in early. So, you know,
That's what,
I have people here need to party. I got to get in. I'm sorry. You sometimes got to do what you got to do.
Yes, man. Yes. And we appreciate you doing that and coming in. It's going to be a great conversation. We've had you slated for this show for quite a while to come on and talk to us on this Sunday. And man, I've been seeing a lot of the stuff that you've been doing and a lot of the movement that you've been making. Lou, I agree, man. He got in real cheap. Little $20, slide on in there.
right.
It's the charming personality that gets them. It's sure as hell not looks. So,
all right, man. All right, we're gonna jump into it here, man. Like I said, you've been doing really great work as far as commentary out there in the local scene, Michigan and Ohio as well, man. So let me ask you, when did you start commentating? When did you break into the business, and kind of how did you break in?
So I kind of almost fell in. I kind of tripped in a little bit. A little bit of background on myself. I'm based out of Northwest Ohio. I'm originally from Akron, Ohio, so it's kind of more southeast Ohio. But I came to Toledo, Ohio for college in the spring of 2009. And then I graduated college, the fall of 2009. And then I graduated the spring of 20, I don't know my dates. It's already too early for me. Sorry. I came to Toledo in the fall of 2004. I graduated college, the spring of 2009. And then I was a radio broadcaster for about 11 years for a corporate company named Cumulus Media. And I was there until about April of 2021. And when I decided to leave, and I left because partially COVID, partially opportunities were, not given or available at that point, I kind of reached a ceiling. I joined and I did some different things now in my 9 to 5. But my old commentary partner for Ruthless Pro Wrestling says, "Hey, we got some stuff going on. We're launching a company in Ruthless Pro." And I spoke with the promoter because I promoted his stuff. I brought him into my radio morning show. Yeah. I was a radio morning personality for Rock Station for about 7 years. So in between Nickelback songs, I was promoting things locally and everything. And I've always been a wrestling fan. And they kind of just brought me in. They're like, "Hey, this is a labor of love. If you want to do it, you want to do it." I'm like, "Yeah, absolutely. I like wrestling. I have a 9 to 5. I like to talk. Let's do it." And since then, I've really developed more and more of my skill. I've done some color. I've done some now more. I lean more a little play-by-play and everything. And now I'm the voice of a handful of great Midwestern companies and just kind of launching my product out there. And I'm here to chop it up with all of you and talk about this wild world wacky of wrestling. So.
Yeah, man. It really is that, man. It most definitely is that. And we want the household, of course, to get to know you as well. But also, guys, we know exactly why you guys come here. Don't think we're not going to talk a little bit of Friday Night Smackdown. Most definitely we are. And we had a great watch along this past weekend with the voice Josh Joseph, and we talked a lot about ECW, and also we had a really good conversation about the comparison for the Wyatt Six and what we see there between the parallels between them and Raven's flock, and that was a really fun episode. Voice, man, I gotta ask you, you got a chance to see a little bit of Smackdown, man, and everything that was moving. What for you, man, stuck out the most from that night?
From this past SmackDown?
Yes, yeah.
I don't want to be cliche, but it's gonna have to be the confrontation with Roman.
Yeah.
And at the end, I mean, it's just so impactful. I don't want to go for the big grand slam of WWE's SmackDown, but it really was. I mean, there was just so much emotion in it, so much just so much fun for SmackDown. SmackDown is starting to pick up its momentum again.
And I just got to jump in and say, you called that was going to happen.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm going to give credit where credit is due. You guys all in the household talking about Roman coming back. And to me, when we talk about SmackDown picking up, that's on the shoulders of Roman right now, because he's so impactful. No matter what he does, he's just so impactful. So when you bring him back, in which they did at SummerSlam, and then, I mean, I've seen reports where the next person coming in is Zilla, and he's going to be with Roman. And if that happens, wow, we're gonna have an amazing Roman bloodline, and we're gonna have an amazing Solo bloodline. And when those guys clash, it's going to be World War IV, because apparently we're already in World War III, so we have to go to the next one. So I think that's where we're going to be with it. Yeah, but yeah, if I'm going to say that, I'm going to have to say that Roman's was the most impactful, and just because we haven't seen it in so long.
Yeah,
I think that plays a factor into it too. It was just very exciting to see him back and see him doing what tribal chiefs do.
Yeah, man, and that was just coming and wrecking house. Like here's the thing that stands out to me, and then I'm gonna get some thoughts from Grun, who of course does our SmackDown preview show. It's been so impactful that Roman's been back, and literally he has not said one word. He has said nothing. Absolutely nothing. Not a single word has been uttered by this man. And already he's just like, the aura is different. Grun, go ahead and jump on that, man, and jump in on this. What are you thinking about the impact of Roman already in just 2 appearances? And your opinion, of course.
Well, I think the impact, you felt it. The crowds are, or at least for SmackDown, seem to be more alive. They gave more energy to everything else on the show, while also chanting, "We want Roman," letting Solo Sikoa know that no, they don't believe in him, that they never did, reaffirming that Roman's return it is going to bring this illusion that Solo Sikoa has around him. It's going to bring it crashing down. That Roman earned title of Tribal Chief. You've not earned jack. You are taking it. That is not how you get the crown, or in this case, the lei. Yeah,
and he really. So this is what the I believe it's the Ulafali, and this is exactly what this is about. Hype, if you could you find a video of Roman picking up the Ulafali, just so we could kind of reference it a little bit.
Yeah, I got you.
PEAPOD, man, I know that with you, you're hustling, you're out there grinding and doing shows and commentating every weekend. Sometimes it can be hard to keep up with the current product. Trust me, I've been in the trenches in that way as well. But of course, with it being Roman Reigns and it being at the pinnacle, at the top of what's happening in the wrestling world, I know you're paying attention to that. What are your thoughts on already, bro, this return from Roman Reigns from SummerSlam to just this past appearance on SmackDown?
Well, first off, I feel like Triple H is collecting Samoan wrestlers like Pokemon, so you got to catch them all. And if it's the idea of Zilla Fatu is going to be the next one, which makes perfect sense. He's been honestly the main person in GCW that they've been focusing as I've seen.
Yeah.
So it makes perfect sense that Zilla would be coming in. It's unfortunate that Jacob Fatu did actually get injured.
Yeah.
Because that momentum came in like the house of fire and actually made Solo look legitimate. Tama and Toa, as much as there's a lot of history with them, especially in the incarnations of Bullet Club in New Japan. I just feel they are just there. They don't. I feel like just impersonally they don't add much. They're just guys. They're just your henchmen, pretty much. And, every evil organization has their henchmen and everything. So, adding them with Solo makes sense. Kind of throw them in front of everybody, weaken the opponents and everything. And then Solo does the cleanup, the finisher and everything. But when Roman left, it really felt like the Bloodline, which was like the highlight of SmackDown for a good few years, as you're seeing the video right now and the spear. It was so impactful and it made perfect sense that now Roman coming back. Now we can have some more legitimacy again for this, this storyline that has been going on for years now and has been told really well. It's not every day the WWE does very long-term booking and keeps the storyline, keeps it going like this. At times it did, every big storyline, every big thing goes ebbs and flows. And I just feel like this is going to be the start of something good. And, I don't know how much time Roman does have left. I know health or family and whatnot. So if this is like the transition of Roman being a little bit more of a part-timer, then I think this is a perfect opportunity for it. And especially with all the new talent. I know we have talks about Hikuleo coming in, Zilla Fatu, anybody else in the Samoan storyline coming in as well. It's going to be interesting to see how this progresses the next few months.
No, I definitely agree with you. You make a lot of great points. Sometimes it's tough to hear the truth. And with somebody as talented as Tama Tonga, who I think is incredibly talented, and then, Tonga Loa, and them together there, it's definitely a thing where it's like, yeah, they might have been able to go balls to the wall in New Japan, which most definitely, I mean, that's what they do there. I mean, Japanese wrestling, it's a completely different vibe. It's boom, boom, boom all the time, hard hitting, strong style, and rapid action. But with WWE, you kind of have to be able to play a lesser role. And I like the fact that one thing that I can say about Tama Tonga is when he came in, and then it just he became such a seamless part of the WWE roster. It was so fluid because he just came in, he understood the role, which, yeah, you are a henchman. Same thing with Tonga Loa. You guys are henchmen for Solo Sikoa. As we see them, so Solo didn't have to take the whooping yet from Roman Reigns. You see Tonga Loa right there taking the ass whooping. So, that's exactly what you bring those guys in there for. It makes perfect sense, and it makes Solo bigger in a way. But also what you said that sparked something with me is the fire that Jacob Fatu came out with from the gate. I mean, the momentum was most definitely there, as you said, and it's unfortunate that he's hurt. It's real unfortunate because one thing that set Jacob Fatu apart, I think, from every other member of this version here of the Bloodline is the fact that he has a sense of danger that surrounds him. You have to be unsteady around this guy because he's seemingly unstable. You've seen him scream in opponent's face, "I love my tribal chief. How dare you disrespect?" This guy is off the wall crazy. He's dangerous. He with the other members, there's a sense of calm to him. With Jacob Fatu, there's a sense of this is an absolute wild man, and that's what I absolutely like about him. And man, I just enjoy it. But as we see Roman Reigns, coming out here and and just having that presence and aura around him. I got to ask the producer here, Hype, what are you thinking about so far the return of the Tribal Chief?
Oh man, I think it's everything it should be right now. Like Roman is out there, he's getting the cheers that WWE probably wanted him to get 10 years ago,
Yeah.
right?
Oh yeah.
But he's finally getting them, but he got them in an organic way. So I think that there's nothing better than this right now. Like going on, like there is. This makes me want to watch SmackDown again. This gets me to watch SmackDown again, which I think is the goal anyways. Because as we've said on here for numerous weeks now, SmackDown's been lacking. Raw's been where it's at. That's the show to watch. That's where you're gonna see the most stories, the most things going on, the most interlacing of things. But now we're back because Roman is that guy that fills those gaps for that. Shout out to Cody and all the little American nightmares out there, but Roman is the one, bro.
It's unfortunate that I think what Cody has done, the idea of I have to finish the story, and he did, and now where do you continue your story? There was so much hype around Cody and the chase and this happens for a lot of wrestlers and a lot of presentations. Once the chase is done, they just feel lacking. And whether you want to talk about the idea and unfortunately the fans do it, but not necessarily the wrestlers, the idea of this AEW WWE thing, I feel like WWE just kind of capitalized on, he was an ex AEW person. He was a founder of AEW. We're going to strap him the title. We're going to launch the rocket on him. And then you only have so much gas to use that. And then it's over. And I'm sorry, Roman has been the guy for the company for quite some time. Nothing about Cody is bad or wrong or unfortunate or nothing. Tremendous talent, family business. He knows wrestling through and through. He has that old school mentality, that old school carrying the belt with him. Oh, even how he holds the belt.
Yeah, I love
is just that the old school, territorial days. And that's great and that's fine. Not necessarily can the territory ideals doesn't necessarily will reflect in today's market, especially in today's WWE product, where it's geared towards more younger, it skews more kids who want that larger than life personalities and everything, and it doesn't necessarily focus that much on just wrestling integrity, for lack of a better term. That's how I feel about it. Cody is great. Cody's a great company man. He's going to be doing great stuff in the WWE for years to come. Great for him. I just don't feel like there's still after the chase is done, I don't think there's much left for Cody. Honestly, it's going to be Roman. It's going to be the story of the bloodline until something more impactful happens. Whether that means a draft shuffles all the cards together, I don't know. But I just, with Roman now, as everybody has just said in this conversation, just for the last few minutes, it brings more life into SmackDown again. That tells you something that you haven't really fleshed out more of the ideas of what happens when our star guy is done. And there are some people and some wrestlers that are just good for the middle. Nothing wrong with that. Some guy that not every person is going to be the face of the company. That's just the truth. Yeah. You can work hard and doing everything. It just, there comes a point where you have to understand where you're at, and it's going to be interesting moving forward from that. Thinking about the future and how it's going to play out with the 600 Samoans that are going to be coming in on SmackDown, and moving from there.
Yeah, no, that's a lot of good thoughts, and you make a lot of good points about Cody and where he's at currently as a champion, and that has me bring up an interesting question and something that's been kind of percolating in my mind for the last really coming up the last week now, and I want to bring it here to the panel as we talk about this. We see here in our sphere here that we have Kevin Owens, who's going to be going up against Cody Rhodes for the WWE Undisputed Universal Championship. And then on the flip side of things, on Monday Night Raw, we're going to have Gunther, who's going to be defending against Randy Orton. And it just raises an interesting question. And I'm going to throw it here. I'm going to start it here with the voice. Is considering the matches that we have going into Bash in Berlin, considering the storylines around the titles that we have, also considering Monday Night Raw going to Netflix starting next year, what do you think right now, Voice, is the most important championship in the company right now? Is it the Universal Championship, or is it the World Heavyweight Championship? What are your thoughts?
That's a good question, because PEAPOD was hitting on a lot of things that we've been discussing here with the Cody run.
Definitely.
I mean, we really have, like, it's like you came in and made it sound really good as Bully Ray's cousin. I love it.
Oh no, not that.
No, I love it. No, trust me. When I seen you on here, I was like, "Holy shit! Whoa, he looks so much like him." But I digress.
Is it because I'm fat and bald?
No.
Glasses.
It's the jawline, buddy. It's the jawline and the glasses. When you put those together, you got Bully Ray. It just
That's fair.
But I like it. But the most important title we have out there right now, I have to say, is Monday Night Raw.
Ooh, okay.
With Gunther, let's think about this. Cody's run isn't being, his story was already complete, and like we talked about with Sammy, with Cody, once that story, the chase is done, the draw to watch and really observe what they're doing is kind of diminishing. It's not as intriguing as it was, because he's already obtained it. He's already gotten it. So now they're really trying to make the chase for Cody, for others to chase Cody, mean something. So now they're doing the old school, well, I'm a champion and I'm going to give you a shot, kid. And you're saying it to Kevin Owens. And now we have Kevin Owens going, gee, mister, I just really haven't deserved it lately. Kevin Owens, shut up. You deserve it. You deserve it. Anytime you lace up and we see you in whatever, Monday night, Friday night, if they do a Saturday show, if you're there, we're watching because you're Kevin Owens. We love everything you've done for us. You have kept WWE going in lull times. There were times where people were looking for you on a Monday night because you were giving us that Stone Cold vibe. You were giving us the wrestler who gives a shit, who wants to achieve. And that's what we love about Kevin Owens. And that's what we got with Gunther right now. I love the fact that we have so many dominant people at the top. But with Cody, with SmackDown, until Roman has that title again, that title's not really going to pop for me. Because once the tribal chief has it and he's back on top and he's running ramshot with everybody, now your other factions are going to become important, because they're going to go after whatever iteration of the bloodline we have come the fallout of it, because it's coming. We're going to have something happen between Solo and Roman, and it's going to be explosive, and the families are going to be divided. There's probably one of the sisters is pregnant right now, and Triple H has already got that contract signed. So we'll be seeing him come up in the storyline, because we don't even know what inning we're in. We still have no understanding of the inning. So to wrap up what I'm saying, right now it has to be the Monday Night title. It's just, there's so much going around it, because there's a immovable object that's holding it.
Yeah. I like that thought. I mean, it's just, There's a lot to consider right now with that championship. Once again, I have to bring in the fact that that's going to be the represented title going into the Netflix era. So that was going to be on the forefront of everything that's going on. Roman Roman is pivotal because we all know that right now the main story on SmackDown is Roman, and the WWE Universal Heavyweight Championship storyline is like upper mid card, so like that's what we're looking at right now. Like anything that Roman does, like if Roman's on the next show, he's ending the show. Any show that Roman's on, he's going to end the show because he's Roman. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's just kind of where we're at right now. Going back to the Kevin Owens thing, I really feel like even though I don't like the fact that he was like, no, I haven't earned it, I don't deserve it. I was with you, man. I was like, what? No. Like, why would you not just take that opportunity? Just take the opportunity. But I think that Kevin Owens, I think that something is going on with Kevin Owens where it's like he's trying to preserve his friendship with Cody. And so he's like kind of self-sabotaging a little bit because he's like, you don't understand. Like mentally it's like, you don't understand, Cody. If you give me a shot at that championship, I'm going to do whatever I have to do to win that title. And we know the devious side of Kevin Owens. I don't even really think that Cody knows what he signed himself up for, because we got a possibility that we could see Kevin Steen come out, and that could be a completely different situation. We've seen what Kevin Owens will do to be a champion. I remember when he was the NXT champion and he backstabbed Sami Zayn. I mean, on like his first night with the company. Like his first night with the company, he powerbombed him on that apron, and I was like, at a hush. I was one of the first takeovers, I believe it was. And, man, Kevin Owens can take it to a completely different spot if he wants to. And I think Owens' mindset is, don't do it, man, because you don't understand what you're getting yourself into. If you give me this shot, I'm going to do whatever it takes. And I think that might be where we're going. But Grun, what do you think, man? Which title in your mind, at least currently, is the most important title?
Man, Josh made a really good argument for why the WWE World Heavyweight Championship is the top title right now. And I'm going through it in my head. I'm trying to convince myself the Undisputed Championship is the big one, but it's gotta be. I gotta agree with Josh. It is the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. While Cody has had 2 great matches with AJ Styles, he did have a really good match with Solo Sikoa, and Solo Sikoa did, I do believe, looked very good in that match at SummerSlam. But but that title is a prize for a different story. That is a prize for Roman. That is, the story is, when is Roman going to get his title shot at Cody Rhodes? With Gunther, the story is, can he make the title prestigious? Because I'm of the mindset that I don't think this is going to be the title run for Gunther, where we think this is the title run where Gunther cemented himself as the greatest World Heavyweight Champion WWE has ever seen. I don't believe, because the story, even with title, even though he won it, the story was still about the Judgment Day. It was the story was not Gunther winning. So I think he holds on to the title, but I think he loses it within the next year.
Okay. So you see a semi-long reign, but definitely not touching the reign that he had with the Intercontinental Championship for sure.
Not even close. Okay. There is a lot going on Raw right now, and with Netflix, Raw moving to Netflix in just 5 months, I think we can see Gunther as champion on Netflix, but I can also see maybe they find some way to get Logan Paul on Raw and they put the title on him for lulz.
I told you that's something that could happen. I said that weeks ago. What if they did that? So
people will hate it.
Oh, people
Yeah, thank you, Peapod.
He's not here for
Thank
it.
you.
He is
No,
not here for it.
that leaves an incredibly bad taste in my mouth. No way.
I'm not saying I love it either.
I think it's the bad taste because it could happen. It could happen.
I think
it's very likely to happen.
I think on a marketing optics standpoint, yes, I could see it. Brings more eyes to him because Logan Paul has that crossover ability, even though whether you like him or not, I personally am not a fan of him, but I also know what a kind of a giant POS he was before he became a wrestler. So, that's a discussion for another day. But I like the points that everybody has said. Personally, first off, I hate that there's 2 world heavyweight championships. I hate it. I don't like it.
Right.
It splits your top card. I understand everything. I miss the days of the initial draft where everybody stayed on their show and the champions could bounce back and forth and that's it. Yeah. And then they just kind of threw away the draft and did whatever and everybody could go wherever they want. But you become, and I knew that was going to happen when you introduced a second world heavyweight title, because then what's the top of the card? Who's the actual top of the champion? Who's really kind of the face of the company? And if you say, oh, okay, well, this guy is champion, but the head of the championship, and he's the top of the card, but this guy's also top of the card. He's 1B. It feels weird. Yeah. Having said that, I will agree. I like the sentiment of Gunther going into and becoming the champion into Netflix and having a decent run. But beyond that, I think, with everything that's mentioned about Kevin Owens and everything, I like Kevin Owens, and he is that workhorse person and worker. Reminds me a lot like Eddie Guerrero, where he'll show up and show out, and he's always memorable no matter where he is. But I feel like until that happens, I think it's still going to be Cody until things kind of get shaken up.
Right. Okay. See, the thing about it is for me, I think that things can shift once, and I think Grun was saying it, once Roman Reigns pivots his focus back towards the title, because then it's going to be like, oh, he wants it again. He wants it again, and that's going to be the big thing. I mean, could we see Cody versus Roman again at WrestleMania, where they actually have a match where there's absolutely no shenanigans? Because remember, the 2 times they've met, one of them was the first time was Solo interfering, and then the second time it was Bloodline rules match. So, what if we actually see a face Cody, a face-ish Roman, if you want? He's just going to be Roman and people are going to like it. You know what I'm saying? That's exactly what it's going to be. And see those 2 go up against each other and actually have a legitimate one-on-one bout where we have a undisputed, decided winner of the match. So I think that's something that could be in play. Of course, I know there's still the element of Rock in there somewhere whenever that happens and he comes back, because we all know it's coming. We will see. But I gotta ask Hype here, man, before we take a break here and pay some bills. What do you think, man? Most important title currently out of the World Heavyweight Championship and the undisputed Universal title?
Yeah, I heard all your guys' points, but obviously the number 1 title in the World Wrestling Federation right now is the Ulafala, and I'm not taking no for an answer. It is the Ulafala, and that's it. So,
Jesus.
Oh, you wrap that up for us.
We put a bow on that.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
What is better than that right now?
Hey, it's anything that Roman shifts his focus towards is the main thing. I mean, we cared about the Ulafala before, but now they're really making me care. So, that's it. That could be a legitimate answer. I feel that. But guys, we're gonna continue this conversation here pretty soon. We have PEAPOD on. We're talking some Smackdown. We're going to pick his brain a little bit more. But before we do that, we're going to take a break, pay some bills. When we come back, we're going to continue this great episode, this house party in your house. Hey guys, it's your boy, the D. also supports small stage, independent professional wrestling stars. It's called Ring Master Beard Company. Try one of their several scents, beard oils, balms, or mustache wax, and keep your beard looking and feeling sweet. Purchase your favorite wrestlers or personalities' personalized scent, and they receive a portion of each sale. And with that being said, don't forget to pick up a bottle of the Director in Alakan House Special. Your boy, a blend of eucalyptus, mint, and tea tree oil. Have your beard feeling fresh. Have your beard feeling smooth. Just like your boy, the Director. Follow Ringmaster Beard Company on Twitter and Instagram at Ringmaster Beard, or on their Facebook page, and that is Ringmaster Beard Company. Check it out. Get your beard cream. Hit your beard with that. Because sometimes being a master in the ring means mastering your beard. Welcome, guys, right back here at In Your House, and we are here with PEAPOD, our guest right here, chilling, and we're having a great time here. We're talking a little bit of Smackdown, and we're gonna keep it there, and then we're gonna kind of pick a little bit more of PEAPOD's brain, kind of get the inner working mechanisms of my man here. But before we do that, I want to talk a little bit about another title. We talked about the World Heavyweight Championship, the Universal Championship, and, you know, which one is more important. But we got to talk about a title that shifted and the importance of that title now, and that's the United States Championship, and now that's being held by L.A. Knight. And you know, I have to say, the energy with him coming out was really electric, and I feel like people were like, man, we were ready for this. We was ready to do this. We was ready to get right into it. As far as this man holding the title, it feels right. It definitely feels like this is a situation where he could have a great run, and we want that for him. We want that for LA Knight because of the work that he's put in and the way that he's found himself on the card. I mean, he's now the U.S. champion, y'all. And I remember when he was just trying to get on the card, you know, he was Max Dupree, and then he was trying to find his footing and doing all this. And now here he is as a pivotal piece. It just speaks to the hard work that he puts in and all the many years that he's already put into the business before his time with the WWE. But I got to ask you, Voice, you saw him come out for his celebration. You see we're getting right into the thick of things with finding a new number one contender for him being the United States champion, him being LA Knight. Look at him. It's wonderful. It's wonderful.
Get out of here with that.
That's the man I want representing my United States. All right.
I didn't realize he was integral to the American Revolution. Okay.
He was there.
Yeah.
He was there. Okay.
Yeah, he was there. He was there.
Evidence and whatnot.
Totally not AI generated.
Voice, what do you think, man, about the LA Knight era as United States champion and us beginning to find a number one contender, which I believe now is Santos Escobar?
Yeah. Well, I'm not too excited about that. I kind of wanted more Andrade versus LA Knight. I think they matched up.
I think that's coming.
Yeah, I think so too. But Santos is going to do a good job. But let's thank Trips for giving us what we've been asking for. And now there's a title on LA Knight. Now we get to see if LA Knight can carry something like that. Yeah. Can he do it? Can he bring the energy? We all know that he went into Andy's room and he found Woody's vest and he was like, I'm going to bedazzle this with gold. And he wore it. He came out and he wore it, and he wore it with pride. So, you know, I'm liking that. And you can catch more witty remarks like that in our Discord when we watch his stuff live, because that's what we were talking about, Howse. Yes. I was bringing that up. But yes, LA Knight's he's gonna do fantastic for the United States Championship. I'm excited to see what matches they actually put forth coming up after Santos, after Andrade. Hopefully Andrade's right after, because I just really think those two match up so well in the ring, and their energy. Andrade, I've been big on Andrade for a long time now.
Oh, I just want to interject and say you was watching him a lot when you were doing those collision watch-alongs back in the day.
Oh, yeah.
I know that you got a strong opinion on Andrade.
Yeah, I mean, I actually, when he had his matches those nights, that was where I put the most energy for, creating content and trying to draw some people around him, because I was seeing what he was doing. He was doing exactly what Naomi was doing and working their ass off to get back to where they wanted to be.
Yeah.
And Andrade didn't stop. He kept pushing. And LA Knight didn't stop. When people said, oh, he's just a ripoff of the old Attitude Era, blah, 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 he didn't stop. He kept doing what he was doing. We kept loving what he was doing. And now he's being rewarded. So this title run, I think, is going to set up possible bigger title runs for him. With bigger titles, as long as he keeps doing what he was doing to get to this spot, I think he's going to have a great United States championship run.
Yeah, I got high hopes for it. He's really going to bring a lot of attention to that championship, I think, just because he is over. Like, I know I've talked about it a lot on the show in the past, and I know with some, we know how the internet can be, and they're like, oh, we want this for you, and we love you, and blah, 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 and then a little bit of time passes, and they're like, you're not the shiny new toy anymore. But, undeniably, you cannot deny you cannot deny the live crowds, because the live crowds are going to tell you what's up every single time. If you can get a reaction, then guess what? They are going to find a way to put you on the show. Trust and believe that they are. And one thing about LA Knight, no matter if you love him, no matter if you hate him, no matter if you're tired of his shtick, the fact of the matter is, live shows, every single time he's there, he gets one of the biggest reactions of the night, and he generates the most attention. And him being where he is right now is, once again, like I said, I think I said it last week, this could possibly be a prelude to his World Heavyweight Championship run that could happen at some point, or Universal Championship run that could happen at some point. This is a test drive to see what he could do and what he could be as a champion, and I think that's exactly what we're seeing. Grun, what are your thoughts on the LA Knight era as the United States champion?
First off, I need to make this very clear. I am glad that LA Knight has won. But I do see this as another hill for him to climb, because if you look at the roster of talent that he's going to be wrestling, Braun Breaker doesn't have a whole bunch of new wrestlers. He has a whole bunch of established wrestlers and wrestlers that, like, big, beefy, meaty wrestlers looking to earn their spot and prove that they deserve to be here. While LA Knight has Carmelo Hayes, Santos Escobar, Baron Corbin, Apollo Crews, and Elton Prince, Kit Wilson, all these guys that are looking to prove that they were not a fluke, that drafting them to SmackDown was not a fluke, that it was not just, let's just get bodies on SmackDown. LA Knight not only needs to have great matches, he needs to help elevate these new talent that have been pretty much forgotten about in some cases, or been just allowed to drift and fall down the cart. Andrade, this is his return to WWE still. And so it's either Andrade proves that it was a mistake for him to be released those years ago, or Andrade he just was never meant to be a bigger star, or at least not in WWE, which I've seen his work. Andrade is fantastic. So it's all on LA Knight, as far as I can tell.
Yeah, I know you've been saying that for a while, and we kind of talked about that a little bit too, in terms of LA Knight still has an uphill battle. And I do believe that he does, because once again, if this is going to be a prelude for a World Heavyweight Championship run for him, it has to be a great United States Championship run. He has to be able to be seen unequivocally
Very true.
as somebody who can be the face of the company and take them into a different stratosphere, or at least be a great placeholder for the guy that is going to take it into the next stratosphere. So we have to have that. We had our Drew McIntyres, who of course held us up through the pandemic era. So, we had that element there, and it's always a good, thing when it's not a bad thing to be a placeholder. I'm not saying that. Not everybody's meant to be the top generational star. Not everybody's John Cena. Not everybody is Roman Reigns. Not everybody's Undertaker. Some guys have to be like JBL. You know what I'm saying? Some guys have to be like Booker T, those world heavyweight champions. Some guys have to be like, in some cases, The Miz, they'll be like, hey, we need you to be the placeholder until we can find this next guy that is going to catapult us and our product to the next, to the moon, and there's nothing wrong with being that. It's still a prestigious spot to be in. But Peapod, I'm gonna ask you, man, LA Knight and everything that he's doing now, what are your thoughts as him being the United States champion, and what's it going to take for this to be a memorable, great run for him?
I think LA Knight's on the wrong show. I think he is a Monday Night Raw guy. In the aspects of, you want beefier dudes. And this is the only positive thing I will say about Logan Paul being on SmackDown, being more of a smaller gentleman in the terms, and I'm comparing it to, I'm sure he's pretty bigger in person, but on a television screen, I feel like, LA Knight is bigger. I feel like LA Knight, and as much as the complaints on LA Knight is being, he's just The Rock and Stone Cold doing the fusion dance, and then that's what he is. And like, so what? That's how like a lot of us, and I think LA Knight is like in his early 40s, I want to say.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So like a lot of people, and I being 38, I grew up on those people. So of course I'm going to emulate some of the people that really, really had an effect on me as a wrestling fan.
Yeah.
So it makes the perfect sense. But I like the argument that was made about, LA Knight is now trying to put some of these newer, younger, hotter people on the scene in SmackDown. So it's good for what he is, but I would like to see him shuffled around a little bit more and be in that weird. I remember back in like the late 2000s, early 2010s, where the title picture seemed almost too crowded.
Yeah.
So there were people that were like seemed too big to be the Intercontinental Champion, but also not in the main title picture as well. So there were kind of like this gray area, like Eddie Guerrero and JBL and a lot of those other cats were in like that weird era. This is like when John Cena was just about the top and peak of his game, especially on SmackDown.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's a little bit how I think LA Knight should be eventually as that transitional champion, as that more upper echelon of the mid card into the title picture as well. Kind of like where Randy Orton is now. Yeah. That he has like such an effect where you can throw the title on him and it'll be perfect. You can throw the title off of him and he still be a factor of things. Yeah. So I think that's the build of what we're seeing with LA Knight, and I feel like that will do better. But I feel like personally, I just don't think Andrade is the guy on U.S. wrestling television. Unfortunately, I think he's an incredible talent. I think he's had a great history. I just feel like there are some wrestlers that don't work on American wrestling, and that's okay. Again, there's so much wrestling out there, and nowadays, and it's so good to be a wrestling fan now because we're eating good no matter where you're at and no matter what you're doing. I just feel like Andrade is there's still something missing, and I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's a mouthpiece. I don't know if it's a gimmick change. I don't know what it is, but I just feel like Andrade has the tools, but they're not in the right order. And I think LA Knight is now going to showcase how he can be a solid rock for anybody facing him.
That's a really great point that you make about Andrade. And I think that Another name that I thought of when you said that like has all the tools to be the top guy and a top star. And yeah, Andrade is definitely one of them. And then I was like, wow, you just pretty much described Shinsuke Nakamura as well. Like it's just one of those guys that have all the tools to be a top guy, but just don't click, people don't click with them on American television. So I don't know what that, underlying factor would be to bring them to that connect, to have that connection, and a lot of the time I think it would have to be like Shinsuke Nakamura will probably hit harder as a heel, you know what I'm saying? And so that there would be that. And then possibly, you want to have Andrade. Andrade really wants to be this cool, calm, collected, cool dude, but I think more like people want to see more like an Eddie Guerrero type character, that cool, high energy type cat, and it's just like, but that's not who Andrade is. Andrade isn't Eddie Guerrero, he's Andrade, so like it's an interesting thought to take, but with somebody like LA Knight, who obviously has that draw with him on the American crowns, because he is that good throwback to what we're used to, that Attitude Era type vibe, Stone Cold mixed up with a little bit of The Rock, there he is right there in your face, and what I think could be a really good run for him. But Hype, what do you think, bro? LA Knight, United States champion. He's here now, and he's in the mix with a lot of great talents that we've already talked about. What do you think we could see from LA Knight?
I'm hoping that we see a great deal from him, but I'm not expecting the most out of LA Knight. Because I don't know how far this gimmick's going to go, to be honest. And like, I'm happy he got his title and everything, and I'm not trying to be the most negative or anything like that, but he's going to have to actually do things to show me, like, change, like it, like his catchphrase is like, whose game is this, right? I mean, you really do have to change the game in this industry in a lot of ways, and he hasn't necessarily done that for me yet.
Hey, that's true. And sometimes it's like you just gotta hit those points, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like I said, not everybody is meant to be a generational star. Some people are just meant to be placeholders. You know what I'm saying? For that next generational star. And if that's what LA Knight is meant to be is to be a placeholder, not somebody who's going to really change the way that you look at wrestling or anything like that, let it be that, because that's still a successful career for him,
Absolutely.
So, I mean, it's most definitely a big thought, as far as LA Knight and everything that he's going to be going. His next opponent is, of course, going to be Santos Escobar, and we're definitely seeing that move in there. We talked a little bit about the World Heavyweight Championship. We talked a little bit about the Undisputed Championship. Kevin Owens is going to be facing up against Cody Rhodes in that situation. We touched on that, but we're seeing things happen. I just want to not really talk too much about it, but just bring it up a little bit. We're seeing a couple things happen where it seems like Carmelo Hayes is starting to start some stuff there with Andrade. That's going to be the pivot for Andrade to keep him away from the United States Championship for now. Then the tag team title scene is starting to get hot. We already know that, the Guerrillas of Destiny, they have the tag team titles, and it's either going to be DIY or the Street Profits, who I think have just feel like they've got a new air, put into them, like a fresher breath air put into them after being lost in the shuffle and stuff with the Bobby Lashley stuff. Bobby Lashley might not even be a part of the company at this point. Seemed like his contract has expired, and same thing with MVP. And MVP, has been pretty vocal on social media with everything. But going back to the Street Profits here, it seems like that there's a new breath of fresh air put into them, and I think that it needed to happen, because you don't really want to, like, I know they've already had tag team title runs and whatnot, but I don't feel like we want to waste these guys. They're a legitimate tag team that I think they was trying to do a couple different things with that didn't pop. Now we're getting right back to it. They got BFAB that is now flanking them now. Voice, what do you think, man? We got the Bloodline, who has the tag team championships. Now it seems like it's going to be either the Street Profits or DIY trying to touch gold again. What do you think about this current tag team mix that's happening in on SmackDown? Because honestly, their tag team mix is starting to get a little interesting.
It is. It really is. I mean, the Street Profits are stepping up on levels that we've been wanting to see them on. Ford, he's just, the dude is looking ripped lately. Like, just the dude looks like he's been in the gym, and the only time you see him out of the gym is when he's on TV. Yeah. But yeah, the Street Profits are looking good. DIY, I've said it before, fans. I don't get it. I love these two as separate individual competitors. Johnny Wrestling, I absolutely adore you in a ring. Tommaso, you were the mini Triple H at one point. I was ready to see you take over. And I believe Triple H was behind you on that too. And then the injuries happen, which that's going to happen in this industry. Yeah. You can't really fault a wrestler for any of that. But I think their tag team has been over with a while ago, just by the performances that they've done individually. I see what they're doing. They're bringing a fun light to it. I'm more of a Pretty Deadly fan. I think that tag team, I've been hype on them for a long time, and I'm so glad that they're back. I'm so glad that they're doing shit. This musical thing, whatever. It goes with their gimmick. I get it, but they need to quit advertising it, because it was like every 5 minutes. And then DIY, I did like in that match where Pretty Deadly gets up on the apron and they do Pretty Deadly, and they get drop kicked and knocked off there. And then DIY jumps up there and they go DIY. You know, it was just funny. It was a good moment. But I really like this is what I like about tag team wrestling, what SmackDown's doing with tag team wrestling. I like that there's some groups in there that are gimmicky. I like some that are just, they're there to hurt you. Yeah. And I like some that are holding the title and they're just waiting for somebody else to come in. Because, I mean, Bloodline has the tag titles. Am I correct on SmackDown?
Yep.
Yes.
So one of the competitors only has one eye right now. How long are we going to deal with this eye patch? What's going on with that? What are we doing with the amount of talent we have in the tag teams and then putting it in the Bloodline? I don't understand that, but I think we're going to get to a point to where the Street Profits have a great title run, because they're really putting in the work right now, and it's really showing in every single one of their matches.
Yeah. I most definitely agree with that. I most definitely think they're putting the work in right now. Once again, I really do feel like that the tag team division is starting to get some really good heat behind it on SmackDown. Grun, do you kind of feel the same way, man, or what are your thoughts?
I think the tag team division is definitely heating up. You have we got the Street Profits versus DIY to look forward to. Penta, El Cerro Miedo, and Rey Fenix are reportedly leaving AEW for WWE, likely bringing Alex Abrahantes with them.
Oh, shit.
So, you know what? Why not put them on SmackDown? And then also the Motor City Machine Guns, 4 or 5, 6 months ago, they were reported to sign with AEW. Talks fell through, and only 2 months ago we found out that no, they're actually in talks with WWE. So it's you have two of the biggest tag teams in pro wrestling in the last 25 years. It's possibly two of the greatest, the top two working today, not including the Young Bucks, joining WWE. Why not put them on SmackDown and really put everyone through the ringer? Now, I don't know. Maybe they're still thinking about profits split, but I don't think you should do that right now. I don't think it's the right time to split the profits.
No.
That times came and went. I definitely think that time
I hope
came
so.
and went. I'm not saying it's not something they could do down the line, and I mean like long term, but like right now, the Street Profits are reestablishing themselves as what they've been before, and that's one of the best tag teams in WWE currently, and they've been there, and they're trying to achieve that again, and right now, that's the story that's happening with the Street Profits. PEAPOD, man, what are you thinking, man? I know I'm a huge fan of like tag team wrestling. I love me some tag team wrestling. What are your thoughts, man, on the tag team division and everything that's coming from it, or what could come from it?
I'll quickly rapid fire because you guys all mentioned a lot of things that I also agree with. Personally, I think DIY is lame. I've never really been a big fan of Johnny Gargano, and personally, I think Tommaso Ciampa is fantastic. I think in their early NXT days when they were a tag team had some good battles with like FTR and all of that. But I think in the main roster, I think Johnny Gargano's gimmick is, hey, kids, you like comic books? That's it. There's no substance in it personally. Not against anything about the guy. He's worked very hard. He's a Cleveland boy. I support Ohio wrestlers, obviously, but I think just in general, it's not my cup of tea. Tommaso Ciampa is fantastic. So DIY is kind of just there. I would love to see a little bit more of the New Day getting a lot of their fire back. I think the New Day's been one of those legacy tag teams that can continue doing really cool stuff and really good stuff. Hiring in Motor City Machine Guns is going to wipe the floor with most of the talent there because they are incredible. I think the Lucha Brothers doing well. I'm very interested in how they will be portrayed on WWE television. I'm very interested if that does go through and happens and everything. I think I love their work on the independent scene, in the international scene, on AEW, and it's nice to see wrestlers kind of jumping back and forth and having more options now, and everybody getting that bag. I think that's fantastic. That's good for everybody. That's good for the business. Pretty Deadly is good for what they are. I have no qualms, positive or negative, for them. They're just there. They're good. They're fine. Good. I think Street Profits could be like that next team that had the same House of Fire as the New Day was. I think they could be something great in the future.
Yeah, most definitely. I love the idea of, honestly, the Lucha Brothers and the Motor City Machine Guns coming in and really adding to, once again, an already starting to grow tag team division. But if you want to make people mad, really piss them off, and I don't want to see this happen, man, they better not put the Lucha Brothers with the LWO. I promise if they put the Lucha Brothers with the LWO, I'm going to rip it apart. I will rip it to shreds. Rip it to shreds.
I feel like that's going to happen.
Grun, don't you say it.
Grun?
No. I think they're not going to do that. I think Santos might try and entice them to join, but I see more. I see them more wanting to do a rivalry between Andrade and Santos, and Andrade doesn't have anyone at his back, and so put him with the Lucha Brothers. Put Rey Fenix, Pantera Sarmiento. While we know their English isn't great. Andrade speaks pretty good English. Alex Abrahanez is a I don't know speaks English perfectly and has been just a great addition when he was with the Lucha Bros on TV, translating for them and translating the energy that the American audience needs to really help get the Lucha Bros over.
Well, here, AEW did one thing right. They let Andrade be Andrade. He was on the mic. He was doing things. He gave that presence of a cartel man's son. Like, that's what WWE needs to do with him. And if you bring in the Lucha Brothers behind him, it gives that cartel mentality.
Yep.
And then we can get rid of the LWO because it didn't work back then. It's not working now. Stop it. We don't need it. We need Santos to be out there on his own, being the lone wolf, doing things his way and getting the fans behind him that way. If that's what you want, that's how you're going to get me with Santos. But Andrade, they really need to go back and look at what he was doing on Collision, because he was running through the roster and he was doing it in an entertaining fashion.
Yeah, so I want to add to what you're saying there, Voice. So, like, I think, okay, so Delgado El Fantasma, which, of course, is Santos Escobar, and then I think it's Humberto and Angel, right?
Yeah.
And so, okay, so I think that you can get that feel, which I think that Phantasma is trying to get that cartel-ish type feel. I think that you can get that times 10 with Andrade and the Lucha Brothers by their side. And could you imagine the Lucha Brothers in like nice suits or something like that, still with their mask on though? Like that would be a dope look to me, like right behind Andrade, and that could be it right there. That could be what hits right there, you know? Hell, even if you want to put like Zelina Vega back with Andrade and have her be the piece there, you know what I'm saying? The female piece of the group there. You get that, and like that's a good vibe. I think that like you truly don't even need like Phantasm, because I think that I think I called Delgado El Fantasma the final testament of Smackdown.
Yes, you did. You did.
The stable that is there that nobody really cares about, that just is once again lower mid card, and everybody's like, I don't really care about what they're doing. That's not a knock on any of the talents. It's absolutely not. I just think that sometimes when a role's not for you, it's not for you. Like, and it is what it is. Because I think that, once again, I have to say that Andrade and the Lucha Brothers could probably fill that type of vibe a lot better, and that would be a more fitting role for them as opposed to Santos and his crew. Hype. Yeah. I'm going to bring you in here, man, as far as your thoughts on the tag team division, where we're at, and maybe your thoughts on what we're talking about as far as Andrade and the Lucha Brothers.
You're muted, Hype.
This boy muted again.
Muting myself. God damn. I'm always muting myself. I'm sorry, bro. Sorry, bro. Man. I think the tag division as a whole is thriving or about to thrive, especially with all the sightings like we talked about, Motor City Machine Guns, possible Lucha Brothers, possible anybody else that can come in and be in that mix of things. And I think I know we're talking about SmackDown, but like I can see a good amount of those people going on Raw and balancing out the tag scene there too, which is also fairly deep. I mean, we have New Day, which I don't know what's going on there, but this iteration of Judgment Day that's there. Tag team's pretty healthy right now. I'm all for it, and I don't want to see Lucha Brothers with LWO at all ever in life. Please don't do that. If maybe, I know we were talking about Andrade earlier, maybe they can interact with him and be a better stable. I can see them thriving as a stable better, them making that something work, something spark a little bit more between the at least the three of them, but also just let them go out and do their shit, bro.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, let them be them. Go out there and let them be them and do their thing, most definitely. And that's what we've been doing, sitting over here doing our thing, vibing, talking some wrestling here. And we appreciate you guys out there in the household giving us a listen and jumping on and giving us 5 stars. We've been getting those 5-star ratings. Of course, we've been charting. Our international listens are up. Shout out to our people over there at the UK and Ireland, giving us a whole lot of love. Our downloads have been really up there. Also on Apple Podcasts, our Japanese fan base has been beginning to grow, so that's really cool. We appreciate y'all coming through and listening to us and leaving feedback and showing love. It's really dope as we continue this conversation here with our guest PEAPOD. So I want to continue that talk there. I mean, we talked SmackDown, and we had a great discussion there. But man, I gotta ask you, man. Like, you pivoted to wrestling after being, on the radio for so long. Where did things kind of lead up for you with wrestling? Like, as far as how long you've been a fan, or where did your I guess my question mainly is, where did your relationship start with wrestling?
I started watching wrestling a little bit as a kid. I had a staunch 8:30 p.m. Eastern time bedtime, so I could catch a little bit of wrestling when my father would come home from work, and we would catch a little bit of Monday Night Nitro. But then I got into wrestling right around the time the big storyline was during the WWF where Triple H was marrying Stephanie McMahon. So that was like the big story arc. I always like to pepper this in. My very first live wrestling show that I went to was the day that Vince McMahon and Shane McMahon announced that he bought WCW. So I was in the Raw in Cleveland, Ohio during that time. So that was a huge, yeah. So that was my first live wrestling show that I saw. And then from there, I've always, in college, I got to, I talked about this recently. When the moment you get to kind of go outside of the wrestling WWE television bubble is like a huge moment, because then you learn more about like the independent scene, and then like the Japanese scene, the Mexican scene, the UK scene, and all of that. And I just like was inundated with a lot of wrestling. I did a college wrestling before the podcast boom happened. I did on my college radio station a pro wrestling talk show for a few years of my college career, and that was a lot of I got to connect with a lot of more like independent scene and everything. Even got to broadcast live our show when WWE would come to Toledo and doing house shows and everything. We got to broadcast live from the event, so that was like super cool on college radio and everything. And then, unfortunately, a close personal friend of mine passed away, unfortunately, due to medical issues. And I fell out of wrestling a little bit. And then I jumped back into wrestling right as All In happened. Like, I still kept tabs, but I wasn't as big of a fan. And then I love the idea of like All In. And everything with that, like somebody not, from a major company putting on a wrestling spectacle and selling out and doing huge well and doing international like matchups and everything. I thought that was an incredible thing. I like watching all types of wrestling, as much as I'm doing more work in the independent scene and everything, I still watch, I catch a little bit of WWE. I catch replays of AEW, I like TNA. I like what they're doing right now. Yeah. I catch a little bit of MLW on YouTube and everything. And then like a lot of the promotions in IWTV, not only for research, but also my own benefit as well. And I just love wrestling. It's just been always a part of me, and it doesn't feel real on what some of the things and the opportunities that I'm getting as a commentator. Personally, I struggle a lot with like
Imposter syndrome.
Imposter syndrome, yeah. And it's just like just recently, I called a show called Converge, which was a wrestling supercard with like 10 plus companies working together, sending talents to Cleveland, Ohio, the day of SummerSlam, and that's available on demand on IWTV. And I got to call the main event of that was an NWA World's Heavyweight title match. So like literally inches away from me on the commentary table was the NWA World's Heavyweight title. So like that was an incredible scene to do and everything. And like you can see on the video screen, like I have a handful of other shows coming up. Our big one is for my home promotion of Ruthless Pro Wrestling. It is a deathmatch company, so if you like men and women hate each other with very questionable objects, you can go check that out. But that's up in Maybe, Michigan, which is right outside of Ida, Michigan, if you're aware of that area and everything. But that's happening August 23rd and 24th. A huge weekend of shows. Ruthless Pro Wrestling's doing work with a company that we like to enjoy doing some work with called Flaphouse, which is like a little bit more fun, but they're going to be a little bit more violent during that. And I'm going to be calling that show as well. Their show, Bad Motherfucker. That's going to be on IWTV as well. But August 24th is the second annual Ruthless Pro Wrestling King of the Kill tournament. So it's a deathmatch tournament as well. And then I got a handful of other companies that I'm doing some work with coming up. August 31st in Indiana. Man, your producer's right on it. Shouts out. August 31st. Oh, I forgot to send you an updated one, but that's my fault because my August 30th date got canceled, unfortunately. But August 31st, I'm going to be in Monticello, Indiana, for Fantastic League of Wrestling. It's going to be at a water park. And it's family friendly. So, you're going to see a lot of more like characters and whatnot for that. September 6th, I'm going to be a part of a all women's promotion called Divine Women's Pro Wrestling. And they have an event in Wyandotte, Michigan. And then later in September, there's a couple other shows that hopefully will be coming down. And, I'm just kind of putting myself out there and doing a little bit more, and it's been a lot of fun so far. I really enjoy doing this. So it makes my weekends a little bit more involved.
For sure. No, I totally get it, man, and that's awesome to hear because I love seeing my fellow commentators out there grinding, getting on great shows, and I'm still doing that same thing myself, is getting on new shows and getting new opportunities for it. To me, it's a great vibe, and I know that's something The Voice could really vibe with because I know you've done commentary for shows yourself, bro. Do you got any questions here for PEAPOD here, bro?
I do. Well, me and Howse do a ECW show on Friday nights where we rewatch some new matches that I bring across House's eyes.
Yes, awesome.
And we have a great question on there. The other day, last week, I believe we did our rendition of who we would put in an ECW promotion today. And I know you've been around the deathmatch circuit. So my question to you is there anybody out there that you've seen in a death match, the matches that you've covered, that you go, man, they would fit in so perfectly in a big promotion if given the chance?
That's a great question.
That is a good question. Some of the people that I think would be fantastic in ECW back in the day, two men that I think together are fantastic. I think separate are also fantastic. I think Atticus Cogar and Otis Cogar would be a fantastic team that could relate a lot in ECW, that dark vibe, that that no nonsense and like that aura. I feel like they would work well with like a little bit of like Raven and some of his style.
Did I not say that, but Voice.
Yeah, he called it.
I feel like they would have a good, like they would start with Raven and then they would have a blood feud with Raven. I think that would fit in fantastically. If you see in anything from Atticus and Otis, especially Atticus, like he puts out, like he uses the tools of today to do really well to put out these almost like mini films and using that energy on promoting and putting out promos and making you care more about a lot of the shows that he's going to be a part of. Another person I think would work well, that he is very white hot in the independent and deathmatch scenes, is Judge Joe Dredd. I think he's a bigger gentleman. He's really like he comes in and has like a great look on him, being like the gimmick being a judge and everything. And then he has his legal representative of Stephen Jury with him. So he's in a full suit with a briefcase and very smug personality, much like a smuggy, Starkey lawyer type person. And with Dredd, I think those two would also do very well in that scene. And then when you look more about because ECW was more than just violence, it was like the really good of like technical wrestling and lucha style and everything. Michigan's own, Malcolm Monroe III, if you're not familiar with him.
I am.
I think he would be one of those cats that like would be like a young Chris Jericho or a young Eddie Guerrero or a young Dean Malenko, that he's like putting on these like wrestling spectacles that like really brings your eyes more onto those scenes as well, especially that hybrid style that he can do violence, he can do lucha, he can do catch as catch can.
Yeah.
You know, I think he has, you know, a lot of the tools, and he's scoping out and he's rounding out things more and everything. I think he would be a good place. And, you know, those are some of the people off the top of my head that I would do. I think another one, you know, I think I spoke about Atticus, but I think Otis as well is like a great, not only like backup tag partner of Atticus, but also by himself is like really reminds me a lot of like Bam Bam Bigelow, that, you know, he's like this imposing force that I love me big hosses that move.
Yeah.
So I love like big dudes running around doing moonsaults and whatnot. Those are my favorite types of wrestlers. So like guys like Brody King, for example, or like guys, you know, like, back in the day, Viscera, when he was doing stuff, like big dudes that move, that like, and I even liked Walter before he turned into Gunther, when he was like this big dude. He wasn't like super cut like he is now, but like even now, like his look looks a little bit better. But I love, and this is not a knock on him or his weight or anything, but like I miss Fat Walter, because I just felt like it was a little bit more of a presence.
Yeah.
That like this big dude is going to chop the crap out of you, is going to beat you. Not like he's like, he looks great now. He's like, you know, phenomenal shape and everything, but I just miss like, I don't like perfectly cut dudes wrestling personally. I like the range of looks and weights and styles and everything. So those are some of the people right off the top of my head that I'd like, some that I've had interactions with that I think would fit in ECW back in the day.
No, that was a great answer. I really do. Because I added Isaiah Moore for my spectacle wrestler.
Ooh,
like just having him go out there and do that Chris Jericho, Eddie Guerrero type things. Yeah. So thank you for that answer. That was fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, it truly was. I love the question as well. It was a really great question. Grun, do you got any questions here for PEAPOD?
No, I really don't have any questions at this time. No.
Nothing.
I can keep talking for another 10-15 minutes. That's not a problem.
I was gonna say, I think Grunt's got like all his answers that he's needed, basically, like as far as hearing it. But Hype, what do you think, man? I know you've been sitting over here kind of producing the show, and you like to pick brains too, as far because you did a little commentary yourself, man. So like, what do you think, man? You got any questions?
Well, so when you were talking about when you started getting back interested into like wrestling, and especially like mainstream wrestling and things like that, it sparked a question in my head, and I wanted to know your thoughts on the kind of, you know, when AEW started, right? It was this kind of indie darling scene that kind of brought together all these indie scenes together in one place on a mainstream platform. And I know you're a busy dude, but you're still probably an active follower of mainstream wrestling. How do you feel like that the landscape has changed to now from when it started?
When AEW started, or wrestling in general?
When AEW started, basically.
I think it's very bold. For people who grew up during the Monday Night Wars and everything, it's very bold and very, you know, and I remember when TNA first started on television, when they went from weekly pay-per-views to see it being on Fox Sports Net, and then moving on to like Spike TV and everything. And now they are wherever they are. It's very bold, and it's very hard to launch any kind of alternative wrestling show, a second wrestling show. I know a lot of people like to detract on AEW just because of its existence. I feel like, and I'm not saying that AEW is a perfect company. It's far from it. There's no such thing as a perfect company. I think that AEW does lean more on the lapsed fan, and there's also, again, nothing wrong with it. A great TikToker, and I forget his name, what he does, but I follow him, and he makes some very good remarks on everything that, like, the WWE is not necessarily a pro wrestling show. WWE is kind of more drama that happens to have pro wrestling in it, and AEW is for the people that want a wrestling show and wants to come for pro wrestling and has some storylines in it. There are some storylines when you pay attention more. Maybe it's not as predominant or not as easy to jump in when you're becoming a new fan or seeing their product and everything. And that's all about optics. That's all about booking choices. Those are things that I'm not part of the day to day. I'm just a fan at the end of the day. I am a person with opinions, and they're worth 2 cents, if less than that. So I skew more towards I like watching wrestling because I think sometimes you want those big, impactful story arcs, the bloodline that goes on for years, the inner turmoil, the ups and downs and everything. And then sometimes I want Bryan Danielson versus Minoru Suzuki on a Wednesday night because fuck it. Why not?
Yeah.
You know, I love that. I love both sides of the coin. I like wrestling for what it is. I think a lot of fans think they know better and they don't, unfortunately. I think you can have a healthy conversation on wrestling and not pick apart some things and blame somebody that you're an E-drone or you're an AEW mark and like that doesn't help anything. Like it's incredible that wrestling can be viewed and it's wrestling for everybody in no matter more platforms and more areas. And it's great for talent and it's great for the independents. Now they have multiple places they can work with. You know, you can see some of these guys. I remember watching, Kevin Owens and El Generico as, the former El Generico, now Sami Zayn in battles in Pro Wrestling Guerrilla. Yep. I've seen, Tyler Black, now is, Seth Rollins, and doing stuff during, Ring of Honor. I remember that Age of the Fall story arc where they hung up one of the Briscoes and he's bleeding and then Jimmy Jacobs is right underneath him in the white suit getting bled on, his suit going from white to red to brown and cutting a promo on this. I think, I like the idea of AEW kind of almost being a super indie because Ring of Honor used to be like that back in the day in the 2000s, and now you have WWE, you have AEW, and then you have all these higher end independents as well. There's not one place. It's not it's not bottleneck where it comes to wrestling. So you do all these small indies, then you do medium-sized indies, then you do Ring of Honor, which was the top, and then you just go to WWE, and then that's it. Right. You shot off to TNA for a hot minute or whatnot, but then still did indies and everything. Now you can go anywhere. You can do MLW, you can do TNA, you can do WWE, you can do AEW, you can, and Ring of Honor is underneath the AEW umbrella, but they're still kind of carving themselves out as a different thing as well. Yeah. There's so many options now that you don't have to pigeonhole yourself into one thing. If you like one thing, great. If you like the other thing, great. But I never really thought it was a good idea to go out of your way insulting somebody because they like something. Wrestling's for everyone. Yeah. And I love seeing all of it. So I think that's the biggest thing is I love seeing all of the options now. And, especially with IWTV, now you can get hip to the independent scene and then you can get hip to know more on, your local area that has wrestling. Cause, we do stuff. A lot of the companies I'm a part of, they're in the Ohio, Michigan, Indiana, Midwest area. But, there's also opportunities for me to do post-production stuff. I'm going to be done commentary for companies out of Salt Lake City, Utah. Yep. I'm going to be starting to do some stuff out of Connecticut. So I can do commentary right here in my office, in my studio. And it can be shown for somebody else, and people can get hip to those people as well. So there's all these options now that it's fantastic time being a wrestling fan.
Absolutely.
I love it.
Yeah, great thoughts for sure. And we're loving the fact that we're able to bring talents like yourself that's wanting to come on here and really just spread the good word of pro wrestling. I know you have a couple of other podcasts coming up, and you just was a part of another one. But that's the name of the game, man. We're all spreading the good word of wrestling and trying to put over what we do simultaneously. You know what I'm saying? So that's the beauty of what we do, is that as long as we're spreading the word, everybody has a chance to eat. Everybody has a chance to be at the table and show what they can do as a talent, whether it be as a wrestler, whether it be as a referee, whether it be as a commentator, whether it be as an announcer, whether it be as backstage correspondents, the promoters, the people who do anything for the show, the people who ring the bell, everything. Everybody has a chance to have their moment, and it's all because of this big thing that we love that takes every part of that. It takes every single part of that to make a show good. And when everybody is moving in that same motion and spreading the word of it, not only is it good for everybody, it brings more fans in. We get newer fans, newer generations of fans who love this, who love what we love. So it's really great to see. And this episode was really great to have here. It was a great one with my man PEAPOD, and of course I got to give my guys here an opportunity to, plug anything that they have to plug. I know PEAPOD, you already gave us some of your dates. If you want to give us some of your podcast that you might be a part of, anything like that, anything that you want to plug, this is your time, man. Go ahead and do it.
All right, I'm happy to plug myself and everything else. Yeah, you can see in the lower left hand corner that at PEAPOD calls the number 4 and the letter U. That is my username on all social media if you care to follow. I have a handful of dates coming up. The biggest one coming up in a couple of weeks away in August is Ruthless Pro Wrestling's King of the Kill weekend. The appetizer is on August 23rd in Maybe, Michigan with Flophouse Wrestling's Bad Motherfucker. Follow up by August 24th with Ruthless Pro Wrestling's King of the Kill 2 weekend and that deathmatch tournament. There's going to be live bands. There's going to be vendors. There's camping. If you partake in the leafy greens, and I'm not talking about a salad, there'll be a smokeout hosted by Schwartzy and 4-time Red Wings Stanley Cup winner Darren McCarty. Movie marathon brought to you by Severin Films. That's going to be a lot of fun. I also have coming up in Indiana, in Monticello, Indiana, a fantastic league of wrestling. That's going to be a lot of fun. That's going to be a amusement park in Indiana as well. Divine Women's Pro Wrestling is going to be up in Wyandotte, Michigan in the beginning of September. I'm going to be a part of that. I was just on the podcast Spooky Dust podcast, which you can also watch video on IWTV. I literally have 4 podcasts, this being one of them this week that I'm promoting a lot of the stuff that I'm doing. So if you follow me on all the social media, you can see where I'm coming up next and replays and all of that. I loved being here. I'd love to be back on again and just kind of talking wrestling with all you great folks. And you guys are killing it, and you guys are working hard, and love to see it. I think most of you are out of the Midwest, so I love Midwest boys and girls and everybody doing stuff. Speaking of girls, Annie O'Neill, I'm going to be on her show. What it was called, Bumpin' and Thumpin'. Is that what it was called?
Yep.
I love it. I already love it. I'm going to be a part of her show coming up, and I think we're recording this week, and it's going to be released next week. So I'm going to be a part of that. And she's a beast as well. Absolutely. So yeah, just, follow In Your House for all their stuff, and follow me on PEAPOD Calls for You, and see where I'm going to be popping up next.
Right on, man. We appreciate your time. You were an awesome guest and coming on, and just, it was just a fun conversation, and that is exactly what we like to have. So we had PEAPOD on, but of course I have my co-host here on the show, and they do a lot of great work. Voice, where can everybody catch everything that you are doing, and where they can hear what you got coming next, brother?
Well, first, I'd love to say, PEAPOD, I wish people had more of your thinking when it came to watching wrestling as a whole, because that is what we need to do. We need to just love the fact, sit back, eat the grapes, and love the wrestling, because it's fantastic right now, and it's everywhere. But if you want to hear more of me talk about Monday Night Raw and Grunmeister over here, you can hit us up. We do it 7 p.m. every Monday with the Raw review. You can catch me and Grun and the 3 things we want to talk about and deliver to you. And then the bonus, secret time. You get a Grun specific. So you get to hear what Grun wants to talk about I know everybody wants to hear that because this weekend's been a pretty fun weekend for Grun. You should have been on his stuff. You should have been watching because it was a great one. And in your house, be here, be with us. You have the Wednesdays with the Raw deal with Annie O'Neill and House. Those are doing awesome because they are wrapping up what me and Grun talk about on Monday. That's so fun. So yes, exactly. We're like a sandwich. We have that cool off period on Tuesday. You get that breath, and then we get hit with those two. And then Friday, join me and House for the ECW watch along, where we watch a match that I bring to House. I say, hey, House, have you ever seen this? He goes, well, maybe. Or he goes, no, I've never seen that. And then we watch it and we get to react to it. And you guys get to be a part of that. We want to see more of you out there joining us for that, because I think a lot of you out there are going to enjoy these older matches that we do and talk about, because they've been so fun. I mean, Eddie Guerrero and Dean Malenko. That was such an epic the three falls. Oh man, so good.
That was a good one.
Watch that. It was dope. It was a fun time with everybody. We had a great time. And always catch me here on a Sunday house party where we talk wrestling.
Yes, man. The voice, Josh Joseph, doing a lot of great work here for In Your House. So we do appreciate everything that you do, man. It is epic. But Grun, where can they catch what you're doing? It is the blue-eyed villain here, Grunmeister. Where can we catch you at, bro?
You can catch me on Twitch at twitch.tv/Grunmeister, where I host the Smackdown preview review show from Grun's Room. And drop me a follow. Because sometimes I'm not doing In Your House stuff. Sometimes I'm just playing Call of Duty. Sometimes I'm just doing my own thing.
Yeah. Most definitely, man, and we appreciate the fact that you do that, because we know how wild you get on those chats, man. We see a more reserved, a chilled version of Grun, but when he's off doing his own thing, it's a completely different vibe, and we love to see it, man, most definitely. But of course, the producer of the show here, Hypocrisy Jones, who does a great job making sure that this show moves along the way that it needs to move, and it's always great. Where can we catch you at, man? What do you got moving? Because I know you're always a busy man, too.
Yo, what up, household? Hopefully I'm not muted this time, because I have been the rest of this episode, but I think I got it, yo. But you can find me right here on In Your House, of course, every Sunday doing these Sunday house parties, yo. I don't really have a schedule, because I just be like that. But you can also catch my smoke sessions that I drop. Look, there's no schedule for them yet, because I get high, and it's just, I'm sorry, and things happen, bro. But we are dropping those semi-annually, regularly, something. They be dropping, anyways. Other than that, man, you can catch me right here on In Your House. You can also catch me with the Kokomo Press podcast. It's a community satire podcast page that I do with a group in my hometown. We make fun of our hometown, but it's expounded to more things, man. We started helping people. We started running comedy shows. We started doing all sorts of things. So, man, be sure to catch us there. Go check me out there, yo.
Most definitely, man. We appreciate all the work that you do here and all the work that you do with the Kokomo Press. Of course, you guys out there doing those comedy shows and most definitely putting people on and giving them a chance to see what they can do and put themselves out there to see if is you funny?
Yeah, you ain't even got to be funny. Just come do some stand up. It's relaxed.
Chill. Yeah, it's a chill type environment. So go check that out, most definitely. And guys, you already know where I'm going to be at. I'm going to be right here at In Your House doing exactly what I do. You already know these Sunday house parties, they hit super different. Then on Monday, we have my man. He's doing the Window Lickers. Of course, that is the Raw preview review show. Hype doing his smoke sessions. I'm going to be coming in on those, making sure that this man stays in line. You got to keep this man in line because you never really know. You never really know with this guy. But, those are basically going to be current events of what's happening in professional wrestling at that time, and Hype just giving his thoughts on them. Then on Wednesday, it is myself and divinely designed Annie O'Neill as we give you the raw deal with Howse and O'Neill, and we talk about all the happenings from Monday Night Raw. Then on Friday, we get a chance to just go extreme, and that is, of course, our ECW watch alongs that I do with The Voice, Josh, Joseph, and those are great. You guys are loving them out there too in the podcast realm because you guys are downloading them. They're heavily downloaded episodes right now, so we appreciate that. We love it. I'm really loving these watch alongs, honestly, especially when I get a chance to go back and listen to them, because now we have the ability to not only add me and Voice reacting to it, but all the sounds and the commentary from the match comes over on the podcast as well, which really makes it just way better to me. And yeah, those are just epic, and you guys are loving them too, so that's awesome. And then we go ahead and over to Twitch, and then we go check it out and kick it with Grun in his room as he talks all the things that's happening on SmackDown. Grun's room SmackDown preview show, and he does a great job doing those. Those are coming to the podcast version here very soon. And yeah, man, I've got a couple of shows coming up. Wrestle Arts, that's going to be going down. We'll get the graphics for that. That is going to be September 11th. So a little bit out. It's a little bit out there, like as far as the date goes, but we're going to get the graphics to show them out for you. And then Emerge 81, that's coming up on September 14th. I will be there back on commentary with my guys, and we're going to be calling some of the best wrestling that you're going to see in Indiana. So, guys, you already know what it is. You can follow me at Alakon House, but most specifically follow this here page, and that's at In Your House Wrestling Podcast. And of course, it is HOWSE, and the W stands for work. So one last thank you to our great guest PEAPOD, for The Voice, Josh Joseph, for Hypocrisy Jones, for Grunmeister, for Divinely Designed Annie O'Neill, for the world's most dangerous podcaster paragon. I am Alakon, the Concept House, here to remind you to tell a friend, to tell a friend, to tell a friend, to hop on this bandwagon. Get on or get gone, because the household is still going mighty strong. You guys have a great day and a great rest of your week. Peace.
Yeah. In your house with O'Con. Hey, O'Con, in your house. Hollywood in your house. Hypocrisy's head in the clouds. Curating all kind of loud. Wrestling in front of the crowds. Paragon's holding it down. Anybody can get it. Josh Joseph standing on his decisions. He is the voice. There is no choice. We is them boys in your house making wrestling noise. Moving fast, it's like cruiserweight action. In your house is the perfect distraction. Bumpers in your ears when you in traction. Get this work with some wrestling action. Smoke.